I'd like to call the meeting to order. Please stand for the invocation, followed by the pledges of allegiance to the flag. Let us pray. Heavenly Father, we have a lot to be thankful for. You have blessed us in many ways. Thank you. We now ask, Lord, that you be with us during this meeting. Guide us in our discussions. Guide us in our decisions. And we ask that you bless this meeting. Amen.
Amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America
and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Communications from visitors. Excuse me. Roll call.
Mr. Buckner, Reverend Campbell,
Here.
Mayor Gilstrap,
Here.
Vice Mayor Jones,
Here.
Dr. Miller, here. Mr. Saunders,
Here.
Mr. Shanks,
Here.
Mr. Vogler,
Here.
Mr. Whittle.
Here.
Communications from visitors. Any citizen wishing to speak on matters not listed on the agenda will be heard at this time. Citizens who desire to speak on agenda items will be heard when the agenda item is considered. Anyone wish to speak on non-agenda items, please come forward and state your name and address.
Good evening, everybody. My name is Beverly Richardson. I live at 731 Grove Street, the OWE, which is called the Old West End. And I just wanted to come and put this on record because so often we hear about Danville doing everything in the River District. And I have really been impressed, and I come to express my thanks on behalf of the Old West End Neighborhood Organization for the work that's being done in Five Forks, Green Street Park area, the infrastructure that has been put there. I'm just impressed, and the traffic is over there. That it's quite, you have to be careful over there. But I just want to thank you all for hearing our cry. We've been jumping up and down several years here, and I want to thank Mr. Reynolds in particular, because we have ragged him, and the former city manager Joe King, we ragged him too. And we wanted our voices heard. And I want people to know that are listening to this, you can be heard, you can redress your government, you can get things done. And I have Beth and Adam here with me, who are members of the OWE too. And they moved back here to Danville, and they live over in the Green Street area. And last week we had a meeting, and we had an agenda which we're going to continue to try to help Danville grow. And we think it's important. And what I came tonight to address is the building on Patton, the apartment building on Patton and Jefferson Street. And we know that the OWE interfaces with the River District, but we are very, 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 very serious about maintaining that area and have it safe, have it walkable, have it be a safe perimeter for downtown. Now, I am very concerned about public safety in Danville, and I think everybody in Danville is concerned. But I wanted to say this. I think it's high time that we start looking at ways that lighting, we talked about lighting in the area. We talked about crime, all those things, blight. And you can't say it enough. I live there. I know firsthand what it's like. I've experienced it. Unless you are there, unless you know what it's like, unless you depend on the police department for safety. And I thank them so much because they've done a lot of work over there to stabilize the situation. But I need the citizens of Danville to understand how important it is for Five Forks, Jefferson, Pine, Southern, Chestnut, and Main Street to be safe. And we're doing a lot of work there, and I think it is safe, but I come to commend you, and in particular Mr. Reynolds, for what has been done in the Danville Police Department to stabilize that area. I just think it's wonderful, and I don't want to be one that complains and gets in the news media and blasts people and put them on blast. I think it is commendable what you're doing in Danville, and I think Danville is going in the right direction, and I think people will want to live in the Old West End at the end of the day. Thank you very much. And I want to say in closing, I want to see that building on Jefferson and Patton Street come down real soon, because we've had enough of it. And the former city manager, Mr. Rigney, he knows how I do when I get upset about that, situations like that. Blight in Danville is not the future for Danville, and I'm working on the neighbors over there that don't get involved to get involved and make their community safe. And I just want to thank you all for your time, and I want to thank you for the work that you're doing in the OWE, and please continue to do so. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Anyone else wish to speak on an item not on the agenda? Hearing none, we'll go on to the agenda items. Consideration of approval of the minutes for a regular council meeting held October 18, 2016. What is your pleasure? Councilman Campbell.
Approve minutes.
Second. Councilman Saunders. Any discussion? Roll call, please.
Mr. Buckner? Reverend Campbell?
Aye.
Mayor Gilstrap?
Aye.
Vice Mayor Jones?
Aye.
Dr. Miller?
Aye.
Mr. Saunders?
Aye.
Mr. Shanks?
Aye.
Mr. Vogler?
Aye.
Mr. Whittle?
Aye.
Consideration of adopting an ordinance to amend fiscal year 2017 budget for the purchase of 2 expansion vehicles and 1 bus shelter. Open the public hearing. Anyone here wish to speak on this agenda item? Please come forward and state your name. Hearing none, public hearing is closed. What is your pleasure? Mr. Whittle.
Mayor, I move adoption of ordinance amending the fiscal year 2017 budget appropriation ordinance to provide revenue from the Virginia Department of Transportation in the amount of $269,226 to acquire 2 expansion vehicles and 1 bus shelter for mass transit. I missed that one, didn't
No.
I? Okay.
Second.
His agenda says what my agenda says. First reading.
Okay.
First reading. Second. Vice Mayor Jones, first reading. Communications, City Manager.
I have nothing this evening. Thank you, sir.
Deputy City Manager. City Attorney.
Nothing this evening, Mr. Mayor.
City Clerk. Roll call, please.
Reverend Campbell?
Real briefly, I want to thank Beverly Richardson for your comments. It's always good to hear good things and to compliment when the city does something right. And one really like to stand up and clap when you finish, but we really are thankful for what you said. Secondly, I just want to briefly commend the city of Danville with all of the many institutions that have been doing things in reference to the violence and lifting the awareness in the community. We do know we have a problem. Feel that council making the issue of violence and killing as the top priority for 2017. I'm just happy to see what the city is doing, and I want us to continue moving forward to deal with this issue in Danville, because violence is not the image that we want to have, and killings is not the image that we want to have in our community. And we're praying for a safe Danville. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Mayor Gilstrap?
First, I would like to say that I had the opportunity last night to attend Better Together at Woodbury Elementary School. And I was very impressed what those citizens and parents are doing to assist our elementary kids at Woodbury, doing a great job, and hopefully others can get involved. I'd also like to say thank you to Risa Wiseman at Danville Toyota for generously loaning council a truck to use in the Veterans Day Parade. This is the 6th year that Danville Toyota has provided us with a truck for the parade. Thank you and all your staff for your support of Danville and the veterans and City Council.
Vice Mayor Jones?
Ms. Richardson asked me when I walked in, she said, Councilman Jones, have you seen what's going on in OWE in Green Street? Bless her heart. I see it every day because my mother lives right over there. Can't thank you enough, Beverly, for all that you, and welcome to Danville. Those of you who just moved in, it's exciting. It's very exciting to see it every day. Just want to piggyback off the mayor. The mayor mentioned Better Together at Woodbury last night. Not only that, but the teachers over there are doing an amazing job, just an amazing job. So we want to thank Better Together Also, this past weekend, had an opportunity to spend some time with past Governor Wilder and the group Links. It was just a phenomenal event at the Stratford. Just so many wonderful things are happening in the city of Danville. And lastly, to my brother, Councilman Buckner, feel better soon, brother. Feel better soon. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Dr. Miller?
Yeah, recently state voters passed a constitutional amendment to allow localities to forgive certain taxes, local taxes, real estate, so forth, for first responders who, for the families if they die in the line of duty. And my question to Clark is, when is that going to affect, and when can we bring such an amendment to our council?
I believe that would probably, like all legislation, go into effect in January. I'll check on that to confirm that. But that is a local option. That is an option. You're not required to do that. That is an option. You'll have to take an affirmative action to do so.
I think several council members, I'm sure, have already voiced support for that. I work every day with these, particularly the police and the rescue squad people, and it's tough. I mean, it's getting harder and harder to recruit people. Pay is low, the risk is great. Tommy Pruitt of the rescue squad said the other day they're really having trouble getting people to volunteer. People have to have 2 jobs. And there's a lot of problems right now. I noticed the state police is even having trouble recruiting policemen. So, but on a local thing, I think it's something that we as a council could do to relieve some of the stress on their families. If we could, and I don't think it's going to be a huge amount, but if someone should die in the line of duty, I think it's something that we as a council could do for first responders. Secondly, Parks and Recs, they won more awards. They just keep piling up. Every time you look in the paper, they won more awards. I congratulate them. And again, this, I was really impressed at Woodbury last night. A shout out to Joseph White, Executive Director, and Kenny Lewis, President. They apparently are working this at Kentucky School. They're bringing it to Woodbury. This is a initiative basically to bring the parents and back into the schools, reinvigorate the PTA. They had groups that are going to read to students in the mornings, groups of 4 or 5, and they got volunteers who will come and paint up and fix up things at a school without going before the school board and have to get a grant or money. They'll just volunteer their time and materials to help that school. And these are people who have kids in the school. And the other important thing, they're going to start getting kids interested in careers early. We used to say, well, we don't want to force kids to make a decision too early, get them into a career. Well, the Europeans and the Asians have been doing this for years. They get their kids interested in early, get them on a track early. Now, you can always change tracks, but the trouble is, when you wait till they're in the 8th grade or the first couple years of high school, you may have lost these kids. They may have just wandered off and just don't care. But if they have some track, some career, something in mind, and the adults have to come in and show them, this is what a policeman does or a fireman does, or this is what a computer worker does. Get these kids interested early. And I think this really has potential, because it gets the parents back in the schools, it focuses attention on the children. And their website, by the way, is bettertogetherusa.com, and they would love donations. Thank you.
Mr. Saunders?
Special thanks to Comrade Janet Robertson and others for organizing the Veterans Parade. It was a very, very good event. Also, special thanks to all the veterans, and a special thanks to Comrade Mr. Frank Mobley, World War II veteran. Thank you for your service as well, and you're still serving us today. And finally, Vice Mayor Jones, great job last Saturday with the Links event. They raised more than $12,000, and I don't think you got any of it. Great job. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Mr. Shanks?
This evening, I have nothing more to add to what's already been said, other than I'd like to agree with Gary Miller that the first responders constitutional amendment that took place, I'm in support of it, and I look forward to Danville taking the appropriate action to put that in place locally. Thank you.
Mr. Vogel?
Yeah, just a few quick points. As Vice Mayor Jones and Councilman Saunders mentioned, it was great to have Governor Wilder in town this past Saturday. Of course, he was a former college professor of mine when I was at VCU, and so I always enjoy the opportunity to speak with him and, more importantly, listen to him. He is a wealth of knowledge and a walking encyclopedia of all things Virginia, and just a great guy to be around. And Vice Mayor Jones did a fantastic job getting up and speaking at the event and representing the city. And I think they had about 500 people.
Correct.
They packed into the Stratford Conference Center. I think they probably could have had even more if they had a larger venue. It was a great fundraising event. And as has been mentioned, the amendment that was passed, I think I was actually even quoted in the paper over the weekend saying that I hope that it was brought up tonight, and if it wasn't, that I would ask that it be put on a work session. I agree with Dr. Miller and Councilman Shanks, and I'm, again, reiterating that we formally would like this put on a work session as soon as possible to begin the discussions to do this. These first responders, it's not just tough what they go through, in the public safety field, but for their families. They don't always know, that they're going to make it home when they come that night, come home that night. So it's, I look forward to having that discussion real soon, and think that we definitely need to adopt that. Lastly, I just want to say real quick about the election last Tuesday. I know that there's a lot of people who are happy with the results, and then there are those who are not happy with them. There has not been a time period in this country's history where you didn't have tumult and some differences of opinion. In the end, America lives on. We've gone through Great Depressions and World Wars and Civil War and civil rights. At the end of the day, this country, the strength of this country has always been our people. And I know that this country is going to come together and people are going to work together. But if I could ask something, I'd ask for people to pray for our country, and not because a candidate did or didn't win an election. To pray for this country always, because we love this country and this is our home. Pray for our police officers. Pray for our firefighters. Pray for our leaders, not just nationally, but here locally. I know, I'm sure council members would agree when somebody comes up to me and says, you know what, I'm praying for you. I'm praying for the mayor. I'm praying for the vice mayor. I'm praying for council. I'm praying for police officers. That means a lot to us. It truly does. And so continue to love one another and work together as a people. Thank you, Mayor.
Mr. Whittle?
Yeah, I went to my first IDA meeting today. Very interesting, fast moving, and it was a good learning curve for me. I also had a meeting with Ken and Earl, and we scaled a building or two, looking at some different buildings downtown as part of the space needs project, and they hung in there pretty well. We went from the top to the basement and looked at a few different things. Also, Anderson and Rowe Piano Duo, free tickets for piano students, Saturday, November 19th at George Washington High School, danvilleconcert.org. Thank you.
And Mr. Buckner.
Meeting